Deal. But instead of taking the no, I took.
Hi everyone, just started working on this drawing tonight.
Got in front of them and turned that no.
I've been modifying it a fair bit. If you zoom in closely, you can see all the lines I've rubbed out and changed and this, that and the other thing, because I haven't picked up the pencils in a long time. Well, I'll get back into it and draw some cool dude.
Thinking this would be fun and this will be, really easy. It's not that way, obviously.
But the beauty of drawing in pencil first before you go to pen is you can make these alterations. Working out where the shirt's going to go, changing his pose, changing facial features because certain parts didn't make sense. So this is the sort of stuff you shouldn't be afraid of trying to do if you're drawing yourself. You start off in pencil, get the outlines, alright, shading and everything else is done with your colours and your greys and your blacks, but don't be afraid to just start off in pencil and change things as you go. I figure it's all well and good me talking about changing lines and drawing stuff, but let's show you something. So I'm drawing his arm here. I want to change the pose, alright, and I'm going to end up widening this arm as well because it's in too narrowly on the body. But just giving it a little bit of muscle definition, not just a straight outline cartoon. And if you have a look at how your elbow bends, you get creases, they curve around, if you're wearing sleeves, but even your bare arm, the muscles crease. So you want to show that in your drawing. And, even in a cartoons become better if you're able to incorporate some 3 dimensions into them. We live in a 3-dimensional world, so colour, shading, and line work will all help you create that 3D effect. Here he's sort of looking out to his left. I might have him maybe holding a spray can about to spray paint something, or I might have him waving at someone. But he's got that expression where he's looking like, whoa, this is cool, how you doing? And by giving that direction and following that direction with the lines that you're creating, it'll really help your drawings a bit. But notice how his right side here, which is our left, it looks a bit dead compared to this side. This side's alive, and it's because of the shape and the line and the action of his face and what he's doing. So on the next part of the video, I'll show you what I do to make this side come alive as well as this side. Alright, so mistakes, they happen. I've made his arm a little too bulgy. Grey lead, eraser, simple. Get in there. Because I'm using a HB pencil, they are a darker pencil, but I don't press hard with the pencil. Alright, just a nice bit of work like that. And you got your elbow joint, but you got the muscle of the forearm coming up. These are the sort of things you want to look at. You got different groups of muscles in the forearm. You got your bicep. The sleeve. Make your sleeve 3D. Make it wrap around his arm. And bring a little bit of the fabric around as well. Don't just have it plain flat. It'll add more of a 3D effect if you bring the material around a little bit. Okay. And this area here is going to get shaded in because, well, it's a t-shirt. It's going into his armpit. Now, he's not a big muscly dude. He's a sort of a wiry sort of a guy. So, his muscles won't be as well defined as a bodybuilder. We're not drawing a He-Man character. We're just drawing a cool surfy dude who might be waving at his mate or doing a bit of spray paint art. Now, how to make this side look a little bit more alive. Well, do you always walk around with one arm completely dead by your side? Well, unless it's paralysed, of course. And I'm not making puns of any disabled people. I know many people who've had arm injuries and don't have the use of their arms. But this guy, he's not injured. So let's make his right arm a little bit more active. How can we do that? Alright. Well, this line here, dropping straight down like this on this angle, really cuts it off. So let's get rid of that. Okay, now do we want his arm resting against his body? No, we're going to give it a bit of life. Alright. Maybe it's come back a bit. So, I want his shoulder to raise up a little bit. Maybe he's got his hand on his hip. So his shirt come down. Now, because this arm's down, it's not necessarily going to be curved back into him like that. It might be curved around at the back there. Alright. And his arm, being back here, come back in. Right. Now again, we've got to think about his shoulder. Notice how this looks probably a little too narrow for his shoulder. Don't be afraid of adjusting your drawings. Alright? Work it out. You want his arms to look as real as you can, even though it's a cartoon. You want to make it look like he's genuinely an active sort of a guy. And with his shoulder back there, this guy's not very fat or anything. Not like the guy who's drawing him. But so we'll say that his back is visible in there. Alright. Suddenly now, you've got a bit more movement. Forearm might be a bit wide there, so we'll just drop that in there. Alright. And we'll bring this one in. Alright, but notice just with that simple little trick there, and we'll get rid of this line here. Like I said, don't be afraid of anything. Have a go. Change things. All of a sudden, it's more alive. You're going to have movement in your shirt. So it twists around. I'll play with that a little bit. But, get an idea of where you're going. If you feel like that you need to change something, well, this is your drawing. There's no rights or wrongs. Except what you make right or wrong. But just with a simple change in a few lines, all of a sudden the drawing's a little bit more dynamic. Okay. Now I'm just using my sketchbook for this one because I haven't drawn for a while, so this one's just a muck around drawing. It's not like one I'm going to frame. But, yeah. It's a bit of fun. Hands are a little tricky, but the same principle applies when you look at your hand. Yeah. Notice, when you move it, different things happen. You know, different positions reveal different things that you can see as opposed to what you can't see. Do I only have 3 fingers? Well, no, I've got 5. But when you move it in a certain way or hold something in a certain way, you don't see all of it. Think about that when you're doing stuff. Okay? Think about what you can see, what's facing you, what's not facing you, what you want things to do. Now, if you're not confident in drawing hands, a little simple trick you can do is, you might have his hand in a pocket, or you might just decide that you're going to drop his wrist down, and all of a sudden you don't have to deal with that hand. Okay, this is a simple artist trick. You can, however, put in a little bit of his detail of his thumb and a little bit of a detail of his fingers. Okay, so yeah, he's still got the hand there. You're going to have his knuckles there. With a bit of shading, you can make that look a little more realistic. But you get the general gist of it. You know, his wrist won't be that fat. It'll bend around. Again, a little bit of line work, a little bit of a change. There you go. You know, people will say, oh, you got to draw this shape, you got to draw that shape. Yeah, they're good guidelines when you're beginning. But the other thing is too, not everyone can do that. They feel like they can't. So don't be afraid to take a look at how your own body moves. And get the ideas off that. Okay. Like I say, there's no right or wrong. Only what you make yourself. This is your picture. Do with it what you want. Okay, so this guy's going to be left-handed. So he's going to be using his left hand to do the spray painting. And you want a bit of a reference of what it looks like facing slightly towards you with a spray can. How do you do this? Well, it's quite simple. Get yourself a can. Well, or a glass. You know, just so happens to have a glass there. Which would probably be more the size of a spray can. But I haven't pulled it out of its box, so I'll just leave that in there. Or, you know, even if you was lifting the weights, you know, have some sort of reference. But have a look at what you can see holding the spray can in your left hand. You can see the spray thing's on top. Alright, this is just a little model spray can if I was to take the lid off. Alright, there you go, you got a perfect reference. Alright, so what can you see? Alright, a bigger spray can wouldn't be much wider, so you'd still see pretty much the same thing. You can see the thumb and the base of the palm of the hand. You can see the tops of these 3 fingers. You can see his index finger running up behind the thumb, onto the nozzle. Well, how does that relate to him in the drawing? Alright? It's the same sort of thing. So what would I suggest you draw first? Well, me personally, I'd draw the spray can. Draw it in a direction where it looks like he's holding it and it's going off in the same direction he's looking at. Because what he's painting is up here. Alright, so you want the spray can facing in the same direction he's looking at. Alright, but use your spray can as a point of reference. What can you see? You can see the different levels. They've got nozzle, where the nozzle seats, where the lid seats, the main cylinder itself, and you got the base. You know, have a point of reference if you're drawing it from the top. You know, they're all pretty simple shapes. Oval with a slight curve there. Cylinder, that you can do. Another little cylinder for the tip there. Alright, the rest is pretty much curves and lines. With a bit of practice, you'll get it. And look, see, you got your little gap there where your spray can drop down. Alright, give yourself something to look at. Hold the can the way you want to see it in the picture so you can see exactly what you're going to be drawing from. Okay. Okay, so I've added in his hand holding the spray can, spray painting what he's doing. And as you can recall from the way I was holding the can, and what I could see, you know, the nozzle's exposed. Give me one sec. We have our 3 fingers, the top finger and the thumb, all there, ready to squirt. So you can give yourself a model to work from. It's not necessarily going to be perfect, it's a cartoon. You're going to have a bit of fun with it, change it around, get used to drawing stuff and changing it around. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect the first go. Just a quick summary. You know, like I said, I like to start with the eyes and then I develop the facial features from there. But you're going to change stuff as you go. So just lightly do it in grey lead. Use your eraser, change it. You know, if you go a bit too hard on the grey lead, you'll end up with indentations and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm just picking up the pencils for the first time in quite a while, so I'm not too fussed on this one. It's just in my little scrappy sketchbook. Change things around, learn how things look. Take a look at your own arms, look at your own body, see what happens when it's positioned. And don't just leave things hanging dead on one side of the picture. Give it a bit of life, give it a bit of movement, you know. He's lifting his arm up, he's excited, he's doing some artwork, he's spraying something, you know. He's enjoying himself. You know, expression's important. You know, anyone can just draw a, you know, 2-dimensional smiley face. You know, you can just draw a circle, 2 dots, and a big arch. Explore different things. You know, look at how your face moves. Have a look at all the different parts. Look at how your hands move. Look at how they're shaped. Look at what happens when you just change the line a little bit and give it a little bit of life. Lift it up from being dead. You know, go out and enjoy it. Well, have fun, peeps. Okay, so as you can see, I've done some shading, some colouring. That's pretty much it for this one. So just to give you an idea on the shading, I've used the cool greys and I've darkened up the skin colour to create the shadowing underneath the can, where bits of his body are facing away from the light. Shading in dark areas on his shirt. Up here is light. This is where the light's coming from. Remember what I said about his eyes and the highlights in his eyes? This is where the light's coming from. It's a bit of a highlight reflecting off the can. The shirt's brighter here. It's a bit darker underneath as his stomach goes in under his chest a bit. It's a bit lighter on the tops of the arms and darker at the back away from the light. Using thicker black lines for the outlines can create a bit of a contrast to, just using the one thickness of line. It also helps with a bit of shadowing sort of effect. Just under the arm here, down here, underneath this arm a bit. Like it could be standing up against the wall. Now, there's one little trick I wanted to show you that I learnt about doing brick walls. Say he's in a room and he's spraying this wall, but there's a wall behind him. Well, instead of drawing each individual brick, give it the idea that there's a wall behind him. Straight line down, straight line across. Bricks are staggered. Alright. So, go halfway. Straight line down. Straight line across. You got a brick wall. Draw another line. Coming straight in on that one. So you got your bricks. Down underneath the arm here. Same again. So you got your lower portion of a brick. It doesn't have to be an actual brick. It's just to give the idea that maybe there's a wall behind him. You can follow that up here. As far as finishing off a work, give it a little signature. Normally I'd use a smaller pen, but like I said, this is just a round one in my sketchbook. You might even want to date it too. But shading, you don't necessarily have to colour in the whole shirt to give it the sense of colour. You can leave it white for the highlight, and then shade it in different shades of blue and grey to create the colour as if, you're standing out in the sunlight and certain parts are highlighted brighter than other parts, shading his skin. Underneath the cheekbone's going to be darker than what's up higher. He might have a bit of stubble. Hasn't shaved for a day. He's got a 1-day growth. Shading the arms. Go darker where it goes into the shadow or where it's least exposed to the light. The can's blocking out a fair bit of light underneath the wrist here, so it's dark. Things you need to think about: under the nose, shade underneath the nose, underneath the lip even, underneath the eyelids, underneath the hairline. Different things you can think about to make your drawing a little bit more dynamic. Like I said, this is just a rough drawing in my sketchbook, so it doesn't need to be perfect for me. But like I said, I'm getting back into the drawing, and I just thought I'd share this with you, just give you maybe a few ideas. Anyway, that's this drawing done for now. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a good night, everyone.